This is the James Golden Show with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
Welcome, my friends, to the Saturday Morning Vibe. James Golden, Bo Snerdley here with you. If you are not too busy shopping and would like to participate this morning, 800-848-9222 is how you do it. 800-848-9222. The gang's all here. We're here, and there is so much news swirling about. On White Saturday. Yeah, we had Black Friday. We've got to balance things out here. So it's White Saturday today. And then, of course, I have just immediately offended all of the marginalized people who were not included in either day. But so be it. Looking forward to hearing from Princess Diana later on today. Looking forward to hearing from America's small caffeinated mom, Rhonda Schrock, and, of course, our own Firebrand. This is a big retail weekend, so I can't wait to see what Lizzie Radabali has for us, Red Apple News anchor and Firebrand, and your telephone calls at 800-848-9222. Where to begin? There's a lot. One of the things that caught my attention this morning is an article in the Washington Post. It is an op-ed from a Democrat. The headline from the Democrat, writing in the Democrat mainstream media legacy giant, the Washington Post, is this: opinion, I'm done with Democratic purity test. The author, purity test. I'll explain, Carlos. I'll explain what that is. The author is Seth Moulton, a Democrat who represents Massachusetts' 6th congressional district in the House of Representatives. Of course, Massachusetts, deeply blue, as blue perhaps as California on the East Coast. You know, these blue, you have the East Coast blue and the left coast blue, and a few little dots of blue scattered in between the country from there. But the big blue remains the left coast and the upper eastern coast. So, Mr. Moulton, a Democrat, represents Massachusetts' 6th congressional district in the House of Representatives, says this: since Election Day, I've learned two things about the Democratic Party. The word police will continue to patrol no matter how badly we lose. And a growing number of us are finally ready to move beyond them to start winning again. 2 days after Donald Trump's victory, I gave an example of how Democrats spend too much time trying not to offend anyone, even on issues where most Americans feel the same way. Speaking as a dad, I said I did not like the idea that my two girls one day competing against biological boys on a playing field. My main point, though, is what I said next. As a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that. The blowback, which was swift, included the chair of a local Democratic committee calling me a Nazi cooperator, and about 200 people gathering in front of my office to protest a sentence. My unimpeachable record, he says, of standing up for the civil rights of all Americans, including the trans community, was irrelevant. What has amazed me, though, is what's happening behind the scenes. Countless Democrats have reached out from across the party to thank me. I've heard it again and again from union leaders to colleagues in the House and Senate, from top people from the Obama, Biden, and Harris teams, to local Democrats stopping me on the street, from fellow dads, too many in the LGBTQ plus community. Thank you for saying that. He goes on to say the question of whether to have reasonable restrictions on transgender women's participation in women's sports wasn't their point, though most agree, just as it wasn't mine. They were simply glad that a fellow Democrat would violate the moratorium on speaking our minds. Voters want elected officials to give voice to their concerns, not tell them what they should think. Until not so long ago, we were the party of free speech. We welcomed real, rigorous debate when orthodox conservatives, who were they, in the Republican Party were afraid of change. What is he talking about? Anyway, we raised the struggles of the working class. Oh, please. To become national issues. Well, he's a Democrat. He believes this. That's how we delivered Social Security and Medicare when wealthy Americans already had good health care. And we're going back to the old FDR playbook, but okay, we'll give him that. He's a Democrat. Independents, I'm skipping a bit. Independents and Republicans see what we do, fellow Democrats who disagree with the party line. That's right. Independents and Republicans see what we do to fellow Democrats who disagree with the party line. Why would they think they'd have a prayer with us? Of course. We have been seeing this forever. This is not something new. You people have been doing this to Republicans. You've been trying to squelch any sort of free speech in this country. I mean, look, when Rush Limbaugh first came on the air, within a year or two, some of the Democrats, and especially some from these northeastern liberal cities, I don't remember this, the Congresswoman Slaughter and others, Auntie Maxie out in California, they all wanted to do the hush-rush legislation. They wanted to legislate him off the air because he was actually speaking in opposition to what Democrats thought he should be. And it hasn't changed. Look at what they did during the COVID years. Not only to they didn't care what party you were. If you disagreed with their mask mandates, if you disagreed with them shutting down the economy, if you said anything, if you questioned the efficacy of these vaccines, what they do? They shut everybody down. They tried to. Yeah, thank you for waking up decades later. Representative Mulder. So when you want to speak, you notice, look, I don't mean to be critical of the guy. He's making good points here. But I just find it, he's like Mr. Hero now because he's speaking up about the Democrat Party censoring police, the word police. But he's just discovered it. These people have been doing this for decades. And anybody that opposes you, I was thinking about this, and I'm going to have to be very careful because I didn't intend on getting this today, and I want to make sure I'm articulating this right. Oh, I remember. I'm old enough to remember things now. While my memory is still here, I remember things. I remember when people first started talking about gay teachers in classrooms, and Republicans were saying, some Republicans and conservatives, this was an issue back when there were, movements. No, we can't have openly gay people in classrooms, right? And so we don't want, and these parents, some of these parents said, well, we don't want the possibility that they would be trying to indoctrinate children. And the immediate outcry from the left was, How dare you? You are nothing but bigots. You people are swine. Those of you who don't agree with this. How no gay person would dare think about indoctrinating your kid. You're just bigoted. You just hate homosexual people. And the debate raged along those lines. So, what happened? We've had success in successive decades. We've had major advances in LGBTQ, whatever they call rights. And so now you have, nobody even argues that anymore. But what's in the classrooms today? Pride flags. What's in the classroom? All the stuff that these people said would happen, happened. And they were called bigots for suggesting that it could happen. They weren't bigots. They were right. This is what happened. So now we're sitting arguing whether pornography, whether it's not just gay pornography, it's straight pornography too, whether it should be allowed in the classrooms of American children. We're actually having to argue about this. There's actually a debate going on. You have the left saying, oh, these evil, horrible, bigot people just want to ban books. That's all they do. No, they don't want to ban books. They don't want pornography being taught to their children in school. And what? We have the same old, oh, here they go. These people are just bigots. No, they're not bigots. They're right. Just as they were right when they forecast what would happen all those decades ago. And now it's happening. So now Mr. Moulton discovers that the word police on the left are affecting his life. He doesn't want his daughters competing against men who want to be women and to identify women. And I'm being very careful in all this. I am not making value judgments on people's lifestyles. I'm not their judge. We all answer to a higher power for our lives and what we do with our lives. And Lord knows we all have things to answer in our lives. But the point is that after all these decades, it's finally hit him, an issue that affects him, and he finds out how his own party deals with anybody that presents a dissenting view, and he doesn't like it. Well, welcome to the America that your party, Mr. Moulton, has been creating for the last 40 years. Where political correctness, where you have to be politically correct. Where were you when they told us that we can't use the words illegal immigrant unless we were some kind of bigot? And you can go down the line of words, phrases, and that we're not supposed to use. We're not supposed to question people and say a biological man, when it is, in fact, a biological man. There has been a war on the truth from the Democrat Party for over 30 years. And I guess finally it's reached the point that in the Washington Post, we finally have Democrats, after decades and decades, finally saying enough is enough. We shouldn't take this anymore. Congratulations, Mr. Moulton. Welcome to fighting for America and free speech. James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley. English musician, singer, songwriter Christy McVie passed away on this day in 2022. She started working with Fleetwood Mac as a session player. 2 years later, she joined the band. Among the songs she wrote with Fleetwood Mac, this one, co-wrote, Little Lies, Don't Stop, Everywhere, and so many others. The music lives on. Kristen McVie. James Golden, Bo Snerdley. Coming back. Your calls welcome. 800-848-9222.
This is the James Golden Show.
The sun's shining, birds are singing, and all feels right in the world.
Until the season changes, and suddenly you lose your motivation to get out of bed. In fact, 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the season or time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all, because we want you to live your best life and be your best you all year round.
Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
James Golden Show. 4 words that mean business. With James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
For any woman not voting for Harris, I'm having a baby by your man, putting him on child support as soon as the baby's born, dropping him off every weekend, and showing up to the family reunions. Now, with that being said, what color t-shirt we wearing this year to the reunion, boo?
On this day, 1994, Tupac Shakur shot 5 times during a robbery outside a New York City recording studio. Is this the one that made, because this is not, he was shot more than once, on more than one occasion, I believe. I'm not the greatest Tupac historian, so I don't know whether this is the one that made him one pack or not. He was shot 5 times. Is this the one that took off one of his packs? Come on, Kelvin, you got to know this. So, wait a minute. So, was this the shooting where he became one pack, where they shot off one of his nads? I don't know. Okay, no one's answering me. We have no Tupac historians in the house, apparently.
It was the same day, Biggie and Didi were in the studio as well, which allegedly they say that it was organized by somebody.
Oh, so Biggie Smalls was
in the same studio.
In the same studio. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And thank you for that. We've had enough of Tupac right now. Bye. Thank you. I got to tell you, just quite honestly, I know he's like, I know in the younger generation, he has the status of like a, I never. Anyway, okay, so you have that. You have Seth Moulton out. By the way, thousands upon thousands of Amazon workers are supposedly on strike. Black Friday, White Saturday, Multiracial Monday, Cyber Monday, Multiracial Monday. Thousands of Amazon workers in the U.S. and abroad, it goes beyond the United States shores, are striking. This is the 5th straight year they're holding a campaign, Make Amazon Pay. If they have to keep doing it, it would seem to me that they haven't made Amazon pay. But they're doing it again. The effort is spearheaded by the UNI, Global Union, Progressive International. They include protests and street demonstrations, Amazon workers, unions, civil society groups in more than 30 countries, including the United States, Germany, Brazil, and Japan. So, hopefully your deliveries that you are ordering will make it. James Golden, Snerdley. Looking forward to catching up with you on the telephones. 800-848-9222. This is the Saturday Morning Vibe. Do not go away.
The James Golden Show. It's politics, but theater of the mind with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
Ow! This is in my ear. What is this?
Diamonds in the Sky.
What is this?
The
Who
one
is
and
it?
only, Rihanna.
Is that her real voice? Or, I mean, it's processed to all get out. This has that thing on it that I keep forgetting what they call it.
Auto-tune.
When you can't sing, it makes you sing in key. That I'm not making that up.
Yes.
I forget the effect.
Maybe there is some auto-tune in there.
You can hear the effect on it. This is whatever they call it. I forget the name of it. Tune key, whatever it is. They run it through there when you can't sing, so that it makes it sound like you can sing. Who is it?
Rihanna.
Oh, this is the girl that's filthy rich.
A billionaire.
Yeah. And didn't she have some problems with some other person that committed violence upon her? What do you mean it's a lot deeper than that? We got to talk about it later. Apparently, who's the guy that did what? Who? Chris Brown. I was busy doing other things when all that was happening. I just read headlines. Oh, why are we playing Rihanna?
But also, on this day, November 2012, this album went to the number one across the pond.
Really? This still gives me a headache. I can't imagine listening to this for hours and hours. It's got a nice beat. I give the beat like a 4. The drum machine, I give the drum machine a 4. Thank you. Folks, the show is being taken over musically today by Carlos. So far, we've had One Pack Shakur, followed by Rihanna. We started off with Fleetwood Mac. I assure you, things will get better from here. Thank you for your patience. Let us head to the telephone, shall we? Chris in the Catskills. Welcome. How are you?
Good morning, James. I heard some news last night that a friend of mine involved in politics sent me that gives me hope, potentially, for the future of the Democratic Party. James Skoufis, the state senator from Orange County, New York, announced on X yesterday that he hinted at it, and it's a rumor that I verified. Actually, Frank Morano and I were texting about it late last night. He is going to put his name into consideration to take over leadership of the Democratic National Chair for the National Democratic Party. This is huge news because James Skoufis is a conservative Democrat who just got reelected to another 2-year term in the New York State Senate by 14 points in a district that Donald Trump won by 10 points.
Now, are you aware, which is one of the reasons I wanted to take your call and take it first. I saw the James Scoopus line in what you wanted to talk about. Are you aware that the New York Times has written an extensive article about this morning?
Okay. Well, I don't get the New York Times in print. My parents used to.
Okay, here's the New York Times. After Democrat losses, a little-known lawmaker wants to lead the party. State Senator James Scoopus of New York is mounting a long-shot bid for DNC chair, hoping his record of success in Trump County proves persuasive to party insiders. And he's 37 years old. He's been in the New York State legislature for a dozen years. But here's the problem with him. He's virtually unknown outside Albany and his district, which is, as you say, in New York. But he's saying, look, we've tried the D.C. Beltway thing. We've tried the decades-long operative thing. We've tried the sort of party machine thing over and over and over and over again, and here we are. So he says he's an outsider, he's an underdog, and he's going up against establishment candidates. You've got Ken Martin, Minnesota Democrat chairman, Martin O'Malley, failed former Maryland governor. And then there are a bunch of others that say they want to lead the DNC. So look, this guy's a newcomer. You said he's a conservative. Why would you tell us that he's a conservative Democrat? Today's the first day I've heard this guy's name. What is it about him that is, quote unquote, conservative Democrat?
He's actually a very bright guy if you look at his education. He's from Woodbury, New York, near where the Commons are. He got elected to the Woodbury Town Board when he finished his master's degree in public administration at George Washington University. And he went to an Ivy League school for his undergraduate for a similar major. And then 1 year into a 4-year term on the Woodbury Town Board, he got elected to the Assembly. I actually saw him debate when he ran for an open state Senate seat because he represented a couple towns in Ulster County at the time, the way the district was drawn up. And my friend turned to me, my friend who happens to be a Republican, turned to me. He's a financial planner who was a member of the Chamber of Commerce. It was a Chamber of Commerce sponsored event. And he turned to me, he said, I used to be a member of the Orange County Chamber of Commerce. This guy is a great debater. Watch him. I love going to debates. And he explained to me how he totally mopped the floor up with his Republican opponent his first year for re-election in the Assembly. So I watched him debate, and he very confidently said right off the bat, look, I represented an Assembly district that went plus 14 points for Donald Trump, and he got re-elected to the state Senate in a district in Orange County that went plus 15 for Lee Zeldin for governor. And then,
okay, but what makes him concerned? What does he talk about that identifies him, in your mind, as a conservative Democrat? What are some of the issues that he supports?
He's very strong on constituent concerns, and he asks Republican and conservative voters and no-party voters to vote for him. Some of the legislation that he's put forward shows political strategic thinking on his part.
All right, because look, I love it. I just want to hone in on my question. Let me ask you this way. You heard the first thing I did today was the op-ed piece by Seth Moulton, who's fed up with his party censoring people, telling them that they can't say words like biological man, that they can't take positions that Americans agree on. Let me just ask you a few things about this guy. Do you think he supports voter ID for all Americans?
I'm not sure, but I can tell you some legislation he has put up.
Well, hold on. Let me ask you another one. Do you think he supports mass deportations for the millions of illegal immigrants in America right now? Do you think he's going to go along with that?
I would think maybe. I would think a strong maybe on that.
A strong maybe.
I don't want to speak. I don't want to speak for him. He's not my representative. I've met the
No,
guy
I understand, but I'm just asking you your perception, and we can research it later. Do you think he's going to agree with Seth Moulton, the Democrat from Massachusetts, who says he doesn't want biological girls playing with his girls in sports? You think he would go along with that one?
Hello.
Yep, a little. So only if, I can hear you now. So okay. Do you think he'll go along with that one? No biological men in sports.
Yes.
In women's sports. He'll go along with that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what else. Well, that's 3. So just give me quickly 1 or 2 legislative things that he's been for.
So he put in the legislation to change the name of the Tappan Zee Bridge from the Mario Cuomo Bridge back to the Tappan Zee Bridge. That was him. He was the sole sponsor.
I like that.
He also, I'm not a fan of this.
Now, look, let me explain that to people who don't know, because we're in so many different segments of America, across America, with this Saturday morning program. So what we're talking about there, folks, during the tenure of Andrew the Pious Cuomo, he named a bridge that has been part of New York for as long as anyone can remember, the Tappan Zee Bridge. They did a redo on the bridge. They rebooted it, built a new one, and instead of calling it the Tappan Zee Bridge, which is supposed to be replaced, Andrew the Pious named it after his dad, the Mario Cuomo Bridge. Everybody in New York hates that name. They want it to be the Tappan Zee Bridge. Nothing against Mario the Pious, but Andrew the Pious insisted. So to this day, there's a battle going on to give the Tappan Zee Bridge back its name instead of the Mario the Pious Bridge. So that's what this guy wrote legislation for. He agrees with most New Yorkers. That's what that issue is. Okay. Last one, Chris. What else has he done?
He wrote the legislation that I'm not in agreement with, but he wrote the legislation to eliminate the Independence Party, or the use of the word independent, or anything with Indy in it in the state of New York. He essentially wrote the legislation that legally made it you can't use that name if you're doing independent petitioning and creating the name of your own political party line. He wrote that. I think it was strategic on his part to...
so he wants to censor language. Well, that means he fits right in with the progressives. He wants to censor people from what words they can use. Okay, look, this guy could be interesting. As the New York Times said, he's a long shot. Nobody ever heard of him. But you heard of him, and you didn't even know the New York Times had done the big article on him, and it's exciting. So who knows? Maybe this guy can get some traction. Sounds like he could be interesting.
Bo, are you familiar with Sabrina Carpenter?
No. I'm familiar with the Carpenters. We're going to play them later today.
Okay, Sabrina Carpenter, believe it or not, she's a pop singer now, and she's had the 3 number one hits in the last, 6 months. Okay, she's the only artist other than the Beatles to have 1 number hit song on Billboard Top 40 replace the other top hit song simultaneously. That's
where I've heard her name. I just read something about her. Okay, I have to listen to her.
I think you would know who she was.
I read something about her because of that fact, and I kept saying Sabrina Carpenter. Okay, I'm going to check her out. Chris, thank you so much for the call. Always a pleasure to hear from you, Chris.
Take care.
And we'll keep our eye. Thank you. You take care, too. We'll keep our eye on this James Scofius, who wants to be the next head of the DNC. They're never going to let this guy in. But it'll be fun to look at. They're not going to go for anybody but one of their other, they're Democrats. They don't want to change. But we'll keep an eye out on them anyway. James Golden, A.K. Snerdley. Oh, I know this one. It's It's not Rihanna. It's Sly and the Family Stone. This was their last number one single. The last single of them that went number one. And it happened on this, I think it's this day's the anniversary. Family Affair. Sly and the Family Stone, 1971. It was their fourth number one. And it made the Rolling Stone list of, it was number 138 of the 500 greatest songs of all time. Sly and the Family Stone. James Golden, it's the Saturday Morning Vibe. Keep it right here. Don't go away.
The James Golden Show. The James Golden Show. It's politics, but theater of the mind with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
But now, people think I'm MAGA because I drive a Tesla. Guess what? I don't think MAGAs would take $7,500 check written by President Biden from the Infrastructure Act to pay for their Tesla. And besides, people who are MAGA, they like driving those big trucks that hang those metal, underneath their hitch. Yeah, that's not your demographic. Leave us Tesla owners alone.
This is Sabrina Carpenter. And Carlos just informed me that this is the gal that shot the video in the church. And the priest got fired for letting her in to shoot her music video in the church. There's an article about this priest today, too. Apparently, this guy has a real estate portfolio that is quite vast. All right, but this is Sabrina Carpenter. Yeah, okay, nice. Okay. Thank you, Carlos. Rihanna, Tupac, Sabrina. Scott in Cape Cod, you're up next.
Good morning,
Hi,
James.
Scott.
How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning.
Great to be able to talk to you. The Seth Moulton thing, until it hits home, until, like he talked about his daughters, they're getting an aha moment sometimes, and you're seeing some people turning. But the turning has to be complete. They have to turn all the way. Don't you think there's something going on out there?
I think that this is a moment, and election losses will do this, where some people are waking up to the deficiencies in their party. Now, Princess died last weekend. I can't wait to hear what she has for us this weekend. Last Saturday, Princess Di indicated that she thought, look, these people are going to end back where they started from. They're not serious. They're doing the navel-gazing now that comes after losses. But give it time. They're going to land where they always land. And I saw evidence of that this week. Seth Moulton is not going to, I don't think, be the prevailing view in the Democrat Party. The progressives are already pushing back. In fact, there was an article in The Hill yesterday that went through and examined who they thought would be the next the presidential nominee for the Democrats. Included on the list of someone that could run in 2028 was AOC. I looked at that. I mentioned it briefly yesterday. Put AOC on that list. There's another story in The Hill this morning, and it is from It is from a very good friend of mine that actually says, wait a minute, Republicans, you had better not dismiss this business about AOC. She has extremely good, a good base with her left wingers, raises a lot of money. Don't agree with her vision, of course, but she articulates it very well. And so we'll see. But what is AOC? That wing of the party that they're not going to give up. And the Democrat Party has been catering to them. That's where all this radical stuff comes from in the party. So do I think that Seth Moulton, who's now calling for common sense, who's now calling for the word policing to stop in his party, will he be successful or will it be the radicals? I dare say I think it will be the radicals. I don't think that the Democrats are going to give that up. And my good friend Monica Crawley, who wrote that, that's in the Hill today. Monica Crawley says she was an early adopter of social media. She's connecting directly to voters. Just a word of warning to Republicans, do not underestimate AOC. She's young, she's vibrant, she's attractive. Well, that's no comment. I think she's wrong on everything, but she does have real grassroots support. And all this energy and activism in the Democrat Party remains with the revolutionary left, of which she is a part. And that revolutionary left, I think, will carry the day, not Mr. Moulton. But Scott, Cape Cod, love your call. Hope to hear back from you soon. Christine in Connecticut, how are you?
Hi, James. Good morning to you, sir. Well, you know, it's amazing how the Democrat Party has opened its eyes. Well, you know, I could tell you locally what the Connecticut Democrat Party has done to me in the past year, which led to me running for state representative. See, I've been labeled as MAGA running amok for testifying against bills at the legislative office building. It was our high school sports executive director who personally rebuffed my proposal that would save girls' sports, James. It's the
right, and just to because the show has grown so much, Christine. What people may not know and realize is that you are transgender, and you are what I call just wonderful, beautiful, common sense transgender. And so you're saying that, and you have been attacked from within your own party because your views don't hold with the radical views that many others in the Democrat Party profess to, correct? Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
But it's the Connecticut Democrat Party who they go out of their way to distance me, and so does their state-run media. You know,
I hear you. Now, on that point, Christine, we're going to have to pick this up later because we're fighting the clock at this moment. And the clock always wins. We are done with hour number uno. Our number duo coming up, including our firebrand Lizzie. Stay right. Do not go away.
This is the James Golden Show with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
Welcome, my friends, our number duo, the Saturday Morning Vibe. Later on in the program, we'll hear from Princess Di. We will also hear later on from America's Small Caffeinated Mom, Rhonda Schrock. And we will have our Protect Your Future segment coming up in this hour. I got a doozy for you today with that. It's a story of a guy whose sons didn't vote the way he wanted to, and now he wants to protect their future in a way that some of you might agree with, others might not. And we'll get to all of that. If you want to be part of the program today, 800-848-9222. This is, of course, White Saturday. Hope you had a very good Black Friday. And Multi-Race Monday will be another shopping day that could break records. Speaking of record breaking, it is time to check in with Red Apple Media star, the news anchor supremo, Lizzie Radaboli. Lizzie, I have to tell you, you outdid yourself last week with something. You brought to our attention an obscure story that you found, and by the end of the week, this story had spread all across the United States.
It absolutely took over.
It took over. The country went bananas over the banana story that you found last week.
Yes, no, it was the auction just happened, and a lot of people, it was kind of offbeat story. A lot of people weren't giving it much attention because, a lot going on. There's always stuff in the news cycle that you could pay more attention to, but it slowed down a bit, and people were like, wait, what was that story? And it's people are now, now the vendor is coming out and sharing his story of this vendor who sold this $6.2 million banana.
And to refresh everybody's memory, if you weren't here with us last week when the story was still obscure, Lizzie came up and I could not believe it. We had pictures of the artwork. It was a banana duct taped to a wall, a piece of duct tape with a banana that Sotheby's, or Sotheby's, how do you pronounce that auction house?
I say Sotheby's. I think it's Sotheby's.
Sotheby's.
Yeah.
Sotheby's. I don't sell upstairs stuff at Sotheby's, so I've always just seen it in print. Anyway, they sold this banana held on the wall with a piece of duct tape for $6.2 million as a piece of art. And now, Lizzie, you say the fruit vendor who sold the $6.2 million banana is not happy.
He's not. No, and rightfully so. I mean, so he sold this banana originally for 35 cents. 35 cents, this banana, which then went on to be this $6.2 million banana. And to top it all off, the guy who bought this banana, I don't know if you saw, he ate the banana. He ate the banana in front of a bunch of reporters and a crowd of spectators. He ate this banana, and it was honestly pretty anticlimactic. This is just like on camera eating a banana. That's not very exciting. It's not like he was like, oh, it's going to be a further installation of this art piece. I'm going to further inspire people. And what's inspiring about watching a dude eat a banana that he paid $6.2 million for? $6.2 million. So this guy, this vendor, didn't even know about this story until a New York Times reporter came up to him and was like, hey, did you hear that banana you sold for 35 cents went for $6.2 million at auction? And the vendor cried. The vendor started crying. He was so upset.
Why?
Because he got ripped off. I mean,
what do you mean he got ripped off? He did not get ripped off, Lizzie. He got what the banana was worth.
No, he got ripped off by society. He got ripped off by. He got the short end of the stick. He did. He got the short end of the stick. He sold this piece of fruit.
Lizzie, how much would you pay for a banana?
I would not pay much for a banana. I don't even really like bananas. Apples are more my move.
Right.
I like a juicy
you
fruit.
Put bananas on your cereals. You're like a banana prude.
Yeah, I'm a juicy fruit sort of person. I like a fruit with some juice. Bananas don't really check that box for me. But
how did the guy get ripped off?
Because
he got a fair market price for his banana. Yeah. What's he upset about?
It's
he
not
sold
about
the banana.
It's about ripped off by society. It's about getting ripped off by society. This guy, this guy, 74 years old, he's living in a basement apartment with 5 other men. He's paying like $700 a month.
A little freaky. Never mind.
Have you seen the state of housing in New York City? I mean, he does what he has to do. The basement apartment, probably the best deal.
He's working.
Yeah, he's working $12 an hour for 12-hour days at this stand, trying to make an honest living. Like, he is trying to make an honest living.
Okay, and he made an honest living.
But then, no, he's not, though. He's not, because he's struggling. He's living in squalor, and this guy, this jerk, who's this crypto bro, gets to drop.
Why is he a jerk?
Because he's just buying all this, like, he's buying this art, and then, no, this is why he's a jerk.
It's his
money.
No,
let me say, this is why he's a jerk. This is why he's a jerk. He says after all this outrage that he paid all this money for this banana, and, the vendor is coming out, and he's heartbroken. He's like, well, I've never even seen that amount of money in my life. Most people haven't. And then this guy, this Justin's son, this billionaire, he goes, all right, fine. I'll buy 100,000 bananas from this guy. And guess what? That doesn't even actually help this guy. He makes a profit of like $6,000 after all of that, and
And she's complaining?
And yes, and $6,000. Like, what is that?
He never sold that many bananas at one time in his life.
Yeah, and he's going to have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get all those bananas here. He has to spend $250,000 to get $100,000 bananas. 100,000 bananas here.
So he's looking for a handout. He wants somebody to just hand him the money.
No, he's not. He's not. That's the thing. He's not looking for a handout. He's saying, no, I don't want to sell you 100,000 bananas. In fact, he's not looking for a handout so much.
What does he want?
He doesn't want anything. He's just upset. He's upset of the state of the world. He feels robbed. Like, he feels, he
wasn't robbed.
It's not
he got
about
what the banana was worth.
No, it's about the greater, in the grand scheme of things. He feels like, he feels slighted.
He feels slighted. Got what the banana was worth.
No, he feels slighted because at the end of the day, he's hearing about this. Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, like, this.
What do you mean, rightfully so?
Yeah, because this story, it sucks. Like, it really does. It sucks. This story all around sucks. Like, this guy paid so much money for a banana, ate it in front of a bunch of people, said, I'm going to inspire the world with it. All he did was make a poor fruit vendor cry. So how is that inspiring?
Oh, boy. Okay. The Guardian, that commie newspaper oversees The Guardian.
I also want to mention... Yes. With this banana give out, he's like buying $100,000 bananas, and he says, oh, and then they'll be you could just give them out to people. He says they have to show a valid ID to claim one banana while supplies last. How is this fruit vendor going to verify people's IDs?
Not my problem. Not his problem. It's just, I'm sorry for. Okay, time is running out. We got to do this. I got to ask you about this. We can hold the other banana stories till next week because there's more banana stories out here. But Lizzie, what's this guy that's making you make reservations to have your kids see Santa Claus? Where is this? Who is it? And why?
Well,
why?
Where else but Beverly Hills would you pay more than $100 to meet Santa? It's in a mall in Century City, and they're offering a range of packages to meet Santa. One is $100. The lowest one is $109, $125, and $165. Those are the 3 tiers. There's the Elf Pass, the Reindeer Express, and Santa's Inner Circle. And Santa's Inner Circle, it's not like, you get to do some changes to the naughty and nice list. You actually just get a cookie.
You get a cookie for $165?
$165 and 3 minutes.
Give him a banana with that.
3 minutes with Santa Claus, which it's like so weird to me. It's like, how long do you need? Like the article kind of frames it like, oh, they only get 3 minutes with Santa. It's like, how long do you actually need with Santa Claus? Like 3 minutes seems more than enough time. Like, have you talked to like a young kid for more than 3 minutes? They run out of things to say.
After the I want.
Yeah, like.
Oh, Lizzie, you amaze me. Always. I just love it. I'm going to think about this because I haven't even articulated, except I can't stop. Lizzie, the banana cost 35 cents.
Yeah.
The guy paid him 35 cents. That transaction was done. It was a fair transaction. What happens to the banana after it's sold is not the guy's business.
Well, the New York Times made it his business and made him cry, and I think that's just awful. I think that's
goodness.
sad.
Okay. Thank you, Lizzie. Oh, my Lizzie. You're all...
Thank you so much, Bo.
Thank you, Lizzie. James Golden, a.k.a. Snerdley. Nice one, Carlos. Just come back with the misery. Let me guess, because I kind of recognize the whining style. Would this be Adele?
Jackpot.
As soon as I heard the first words out of it, misery, and I hear the whining tone, I like Adele, folks. I'm just saying. It's like all the angst. Yeah. James Golden, Snerdley. Adele goes to number 1 on this day, 2021, with her fourth studio album, 30. James Golden, Snerdley, 800-848-9222. Don't go away. Keep it right here. We're coming back. Saturday Morning Vibe continues.
This is the James Golden Show. James Golden Show. 4 words that mean business with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
Heavenly birthday today, June Pointer. With the Pointer Sisters. Of course, this is one of their biggest hits. Jump was another one. Slow Hand back in 1981. 3 Grammy Awards, 13 top 20 hits between 1973 and 1985. June Pointer passed away. She was young, 52 years old. The Pointer Sisters. And Pointer Sisters do some great background work, too. So many hits. They were on one of the albums they did. One of my favorite albums was Cold Blood's. The first album that Cold Blood put out, San Francisco group, Cold Blood. Lydia Pence. And the Pointer Sisters were backing her on that, one of the big hits on that album. Well, not big hits. Cold Blood never went super big. They should have. Anyway, James Golden and Snerdley with you here, Saturday Morning Vibe on White Saturday. Hope you had a great Black Friday, Multiracial Monday coming up. After the weekend, where you get a chance to continue your shopping. And later on in the program, Princess Di will be here. Later on in the program, America's Small Caffeinated Mom, Rhonda Schrock, will be here. Let us head back to the telephones while we have a moment and check in with Michael in New Rochelle, New York. How are you, Michael?
Good morning, James. I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, the cold is still here, but I'm doing better. Thank you for asking.
I have a political question, a musical question, and if you got time, I got a room I'd like you to clear up. But may I ask you a musical question?
Go ahead. I hope I know the answer.
I was just curious.
Go ahead.
What is your preferred format for listening to music? Like, I know you collect LPs, but like in your car, what do you use to listen to? Do you use CD players, cassette? What is your preferred format?
CD players are no longer in vehicles, sadly. Most new vehicles coming out. I don't have a new, but CD players are a thing of the past. CD used to give you a higher fidelity. Now, the issue I have with CDs, and always have with CDs, is I can only listen to them about an hour or two at a time. And then my ears get tired. And that's because the high end gets clipped, even though you don't hear it in CDs, and you miss the ambient sound that vinyl gives you. Vinyl, you can listen to vinyl all day, and your ears, to me anyway, my ears don't get tired. But lately, the compression has gotten so good in video streaming, and the codecs have gotten so good that it's hard sometimes to distinguish the difference that used to be really apparent in listening to streaming. So in the car, I listen to streaming. I hook up my phone and just listen from my phone. And the music quality is great if you have good speakers. So it has come a long way, Michael. What do you listen to? What's your preferred listening?
I'm surrounded in a room right now by 9,045s. That's what I dig. And to share some of them with you on a thumb drive, you just plug it into the USB in your car, and I could program a good 12 or 14 hours of music that would stimulate your mind and make you smile most of the trip.
Oh, I love that. I have an extensive vinyl collection, by the way, including not anywhere near yours. I only have about 2,000 or 3,000 singles, but the vinyl LPs, yeah, I'm good. But Michael, I thank you. Now, what was the political question?
Regarding these guys like Adam Schiff and Eric Fartwell, can all those who wasted the taxpayers' money with the phony trials and investigations, can they be collectively sued for all the funds that they wasted?
I don't think that they can be sued. No, they can't be sued for what they did in Congress. Now, what can happen, and what I hope happens, is that Pam Bondi gets confirmed, and as she said, she has already warned that some of the prosecutors will be prosecuted. Okay? And so that is what I'm looking for. Let me see. Just send me something. Black Friday, Small Business, Saturday, Cyber Monday, and Giving Tuesday. I'm looking forward to Leave Me the Hell Alone Wednesday. I love it. Yeah, but some of these prosecutors can be prosecuted. Adam Schiff, I think, ought to be top of the list. They ought to look at everything that this alleged J6 committee did, including destroying congressional records. I think there is a lot there. I think one of the reasons why these guys are worried is that they should be worried for this lawfare. It's going to be an uphill battle, but some of the things that we have seen transpire should not be forgotten, and they should be held to account. We got to go quickly, but we are not going. We're here. Saturday Morning Vibe continues. And don't you go away. So much more coming up.
The James Golden Show. It's politics, but theater of the mind with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley. Now, it's time for Protecting Your Future, sponsored by Colonial Metals Group. Here's James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
And indeed, it is time to talk about Protecting Your Future, sponsored by Colonial Metals Group. Today, we are going to talk about protecting not only your future, but your child, your children's, their future. And we're not just talking finance here. We're talking about values. I'm going to warn you, I had mixed reactions when I heard this clip. And you might too. A dad wants to protect the values that he and his wife have instilled in their kids. It also deals with the money and the future. So check out this story, and I would be anxious to see what some of you think, whether this dad is off his rocker, whether he's right, even though you may not agree with why he's doing what he's doing, or whether, no, I'm not going for this. Check out this story.
You around with your vote? Now it's time you found out. Am I cutting off my sons financially after they voted for Trump? I, 52 male, have two sons, Isaac, 22 male, and John, 20 male. My wife and I have always leaned left politically, and we've raised our kids to value equality, compassion, and critical thinking. We've had countless family discussions about politics and the impact of policies on people's lives. So you can imagine my shock when I found out after this last election that both of my sons voted for Trump. It came out during a casual family dinner when I asked, "So, who'd you guys vote for?" expecting them to either dodge the question or name one of the candidates aligned with our values. Isaac shrugged and said, "Trump. His policies just make the most sense right now." John chimed in, "Yeah, I mean, he's about protecting the economy. People like us need someone who gets that." I stared at them, stunned. "People like us?" I asked. "Boy, you've never paid for a single tank of gas, let alone rent or tuition. What exactly do you mean by that?" Isaac rolled his eyes. "Dad, I'm studying business. Trump's pro-business. It's not that deep." "It's plenty deep," I snapped. "You're backing someone who's gutted protections for the environment, undermined health care, and actively targeted marginalized communities." John shook his head. "You're just looking at the negatives. He's strong on immigration and keeping jobs here." The conversation spiraled into a heated debate. I couldn't understand how they, having grown up with every advantage I could provide, could support someone who champions policies that harm so many people.
I know.
That night I thought about how much my wife and I had sacrificed to give them opportunities. I worked extra hours to cover their tuition so they wouldn't have student loans. I paid for their gas, car insurance, and even groceries. And this is what they choose to do with that privilege? A few days later, I told them my decision. "If you want to support Trump's policies, you should also live by them," I said. "From now on, you'll need to cover your own tuition, rent, and living expenses. Maybe then you'll understand the real-world impact of the policies you are endorsing." Isaac was furious. "Are you serious, Dad? You're just cutting us off because we disagree with you politically."
Yep.
"It's not about disagreement," I said firmly. "It's about accountability. You voted for someone who's against student loan forgiveness, so take out loans. You support someone who doesn't believe in raising the minimum wage, so get a job that pays what it pays and figure it out." John looked hurt. "You're being petty. This isn't how you change someone's mind." "This isn't about changing your mind," I replied. "It's about giving you a dose of reality. FAFO ain't just some cool hashtag you and your little friends use. It means there are consequences to your actions. Political choices have consequences. You're adults now. It's time to act like it. You around with your vote, now it's time you found out." My wife thinks I'm being too harsh. She worries this will damage our relationship with them long term. She said, "They're young. They're still figuring out their beliefs." "Beliefs have consequences," I told her. "They made a choice. Now they'll learn what that choice means." Some of my friends agree with me, saying it's a fair wake-up call. Others think I'm letting politics come between family and being unnecessarily cruel. So, am I the cutting off my sons financially because of their political choices? You know, you got a good point. I don't think you're the I think you're going to let them find out what they around with, their vote. And voting has
Yeah, it has consequences. Well, now, how does this relate to protecting futures? Number one, there's so much in this to unravel. I don't, for the reasons that he states, he's ticked off with the way they voted, so he's going to take action. Normally, I would say, Well, that's a little bit over the top. But then he says he's supporting everything. They haven't paid rent ever, haven't had to even fill up the gas tank. These kids are in their 20s and others. A 20-year-old, what did he say the other one was, 18 or something like that? They haven't. Look, how many of you went through life with your mom and dad paying everything for you up until the time that you're an adult and beyond adulthood? So, because he is paying the cost to be the boss, is this the right thing for him to do? How do he wants to quote unquote protect his viewpoint? His son's obviously pretty smart. They figured out that Trump's policies are actually the best policies and didn't believe the hype, the lies that are the part of the talking points from the Democrats. He harmed marginalized communities. No, he didn't. He undermined health. No, trying to fix health care. He against the minimum wage. The minimum wage costs jobs. This guy's total left-winger. But he's paying for everything. So I don't know. I'd be anxious to see some of your thoughts. Is the guy the AH? That's what he's asking. Is he being an AH? Because he's now cutting off his grown children, for the most part, telling them, hey, you guys want to vote for who you want to vote for? Fend for yourselves. Mommy, daddy not helping you anymore. And many of you might have had the experience. How many of you had the experience when you had to buy your first car? Did mommy and daddy give you a car? Did they pay for your gas? Or did you have to pay for your gas? Did mommy and daddy pay for you to go to school? Did you have to work to help? Did mommy and daddy, did you have to pay rent when you were grown? If you were still living in the house, did you have to contribute at all? Or did they continue to treat you like children and expect your complete obedience, even though you were already, quote unquote, an adult? So if you want to weigh in on this, I'd love to hear what you have to say. I think the guy's over the top politically. I think this is part of this whole mean-spirited, you don't think the way that I think, and I'm going to even, in my own household, make sure that you obey politically. But then again, part of me says, yo, this guy's paying for everything. These kids haven't been paying for anything. They don't pay any rent. They don't even pay for the gas that they use. And if this is what it took to force them to be financially independent or start becoming independent, is that such a bad thing? Yeah. Okay. By the way, last night at Mar-a-Lago, you know who showed up? I can't wait to catch up with my good Canadian friends. Justin Trudeau, Boy Trudeau, hightailed it down to Mar-a-Lago. There are pictures today of him sitting at the round table with a big smile on his face next to Donald Trump. So you have another one kissing the ring. So we'll see how that turns out. Of course, Justin Trudeau is in deep trouble. Very, very unpopular right now, like his daddy before him became in Canada. I had some interesting sound. Didn't play it this week because we didn't have time. The Canadians are furious. Last weekend this time, there was a huge riot that took place in Montreal with the pro-terrorist, pro-Palestine / pro-terrorist protesters up there burning and pillaging Montreal while Trudeau was at a Taylor Swift concert partying. there's a lot of unhappiness with some of the economic measures. He came up with this idea. It's the equivalent of the little bitty handout from FEMA that Democrats, well, we'll give you $750. Well, he's offering a pre-election tax break for some Canadians that is considered paltry by many. There's a lot of upset up north, and it's really interesting to see how the way is playing out. So when Donald Trump said, we're going to put tariffs, massive tariffs, if you don't get the border under control, both in Mexico and Canada, Trudeau was alarmed. And he hightailed it down to Mar-a-Lago last night. All smiles. We will see what comes out of it. He's not the only one. Wall Street Journal today. Corporate America launches unorthodox campaign to gain Trump's attention. Companies look at scrubbing left-leaning policies from their websites, scooping out appearances on conservative. They're scoping out, not scooping out. They're scoping out appearances. They're trying to get on to conservative podcasts to break into the unusual circle of influence that surrounds Trump. Chief executives are discussing whether to try to secure an appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast. They are buying the Trump family's cryptocurrency token. They're emailing tips about spending cuts to Vivek Ramaswamy. Some lobbyists are instructing companies to scrub their websites and corporate policies of language that favors Democrats, and instead tout GOP-friendly issues, such as job creation. That's hysterical. Republican issues like job creation, that's definitely not. Get rid of all the DEI crap, all the stuff that hurts businesses. Let's put stuff about creating jobs now. Get rid of all this political correct stuff from our websites. Ramaswamy says that his inbox and text message box looks like Niagara Falls from all the people trying to come to his attention, get his attention. The moves are a part of an effort by corporate interests to more strongly align with the Republican Party after drifting away from it. In recent years, recent decades, the stakes are immense. Oh, you saw who else was down in Mar-a-Lago the other day? Zucky. Yeah, Zuckerberg went down, so to speak, and also did his dance. The stakes are immense, given Trump is quickly outlining key economic changes. He said Monday he would levy tariffs of 25% on all imports of all goods from Mexico and Canada. Promised an additional 10% tariffs on Chinese imports. Those who can garner sway with Trump or his team could ask for exemptions for those tariffs and also influence staffing. They could recommend officials who are friendly with the pharmaceutical industry to counterbalance Robert F. Kennedy Jr. It goes on and on and on. I love this. Yes, sir.
But, I mean, it wasn't like Zuckerberg was against Trump, because there was that interview that he said after the shooting that he was fond of him, and I wouldn't say that he was leaning that side, but he never said that I'm going with her or anything.
You think that Zuckerberg, by saying what he said after the first assassination attempt, showed that he was fond of Donald Trump?
Not against it.
You bought that, huh? You see, it's not what you say. It's what you do. Now, Zuckerberg did not allow Facebook to do what they did the last election cycle, which to go all in for Democrats. But I don't expect for one moment that means he's for Trump. Zuckerberg is for Facebook. He's not. And when he thought that Facebook could be used to help the interest, it would be help their own interest by benefiting the Democrats, he went all in. He didn't go all in for Republicans. He didn't go all in for Trump. The only thing he did was hedge his bets now. He said, you know what? I'm not going to go all in for Democrats this time. But he didn't act in a proactive way to support Trump like he did the Democrats. He's just hedging his bets. And then after the election, he wants to further hedge his bets by going down and kiss the ring. Don't be fooled by what this guy is showing on the surface. Look at the actions. He went all in for Democrats. And they have been all in for Democrats. The only thing he did was pull a little back from that. He's never gone all in for conservatives or from the Trump ideology. He has never gone all in for it. He's just trying to curry favor. Make sure that his interests don't get hurt. That's my take. No, don't be sorry. This is a great point, Carlos. It was a great point. And I think that you're prescient to see that. And I could be wrong, but my take on it is I don't believe it. I don't believe that Zuckerberg and Facebook all of a sudden turn and they're pro-Trump. I don't buy it. Just hedging his bets is what I think.
Such a feeling's coming over me.
Oh, the Carpenters.
There is wonder in most everything.
Tomorrow's the anniversary, December 1st, when they went number one. With this one, Top of the World. The second time that they went number one. They had 3 number one singles. This was their second one. 1973. James Golden. Bo Snerdley. The Saturday Morning Vibe.
Down on creation, and the only explanation I can find.
Princess Di's coming up. America's Small Caffeinated Mom. Ronda Schrock will be coming up as well. And your calls. Keep it right here.
The James Golden Show. The James Golden Show. It's politics, but theater of the mind with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
Oh, man, this brings back such sweet memories. Desiree.
Listen as your day unfolds. Challenge what the future holds.
1998.
Keep your head up to the sky.
She can actually sing. Help with processors.
Stand up and be counted. Don't be ashamed to cry. You gotta be bad. You gotta be bold. You gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day.
Desiree goes to what? Oh, it's her birthday today. Happy birthday, Desiree. Let's go back to the telephones and head up to Boston. Kevin in Boston, how are you this morning?
I'm doing very, very well, and thank you for asking, Bo. I just want to say to your listening audience, 77 WABC, heard around the world, happy Thanksgiving. And being a listener and just a call. I cannot be more gratified, just not from the blessings of our deity from above, is what has happened in recent weeks with the rebirth of America. And I'm actually speaking from what was Griffin's Wharf, Intercontinental Wharf, where they banded up and went down, boarded a ship to throw off 400-plus bales of tea into Boston Harbor, just because they were so afraid of East India Tea Company overtaking them and turning them back to a socialist system as they did in India. So that being said, what has gone on, you mentioned Mark Zuckerberg, and boy, did I have a laugh last night when I heard that Justin Trudeau ran down to Palm Beach and was in Mar-a-Lago. I just
absolutely hysterical. Sadly, the music tells us we have to wrap it up. It means our number duo is in the can. Our number trio coming up with Princess Di. Our number trio coming up with America's Small Caffeinated Mom, Rhonda Schrock, and your telephone calls. The Saturday Morning Vibe continues. Keep it right here and don't go away.
The James Golden Show is on the air with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, our number trio is underway. The Saturday Morning Vibe, 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. It is a moment that I have been waiting for, and many of you as well.
It's time for Radio Royalty with James Golden and America's Princess of Policy, Princess Di.
I am holding in my hands, ladies and gentlemen, a beautiful frame. Inside that frame is a check. A check made out to Sir James with a memorandum notation. It is official. It is in print. It will be forever enshrined. The words, "You were right." This is every man's dream. Something that rarely happens in the life of man. An acknowledgement from a woman that he loves dearly that he, male that he is, was right. And thank you, Princess Di, you have satisfied the debt that you incurred betting against me in the 2024 presidential cycle. I have this proudly in the studio, and it will remain as long as there is a studio.
I love it so much. Well, you notice, James, it is framed for a reason. That means you can never cash it.
Excuse me.
Yes.
If you have a phone with a camera, since it is in a clear frame, all I have to do is take a picture of it front and back and deposit it mobily. Yes, it can be cashed. And I can keep it too. I can have my cake and eat it too, so to speak.
I love it. And you have to admit, out of all of the quote-unquote bets we have had, this is the first time I've ever paid up, even though you have won all of them. So historic.
That's why this is so special. Thank you, Princess Di. Now, I have to ask you a question.
Yes.
So earlier in the week, some Trump nominees got swatted. and there were death threats and bomb threats, and it hit the media. And all of a sudden, it was like, oh, goodness, some people on the left are having a reaction. Within 36 hours after that, all of a sudden, we started hearing about Democrats who were being swatted. Hakeem Jeffries went out and says, oh, yeah, and all the people that were swatting and threatening Democrats, why they signed it, MAGA. And I said to myself, this is strange. They're signing it MAGA?
Yeah, this is MAGA country. That's what it sounded like, a Jussie Smollett operation.
Thank you. It sounds like a Jussie Smollett. Thank you. That's what it sounds like. I couldn't have expressed it better. So here we are. You got Justin Trudeau running down to kiss the ring. You had Zuckerberg. Did you, by the way, Carlos here, who just loves the fact, he said, I can't wait to talk to Princess Di. She doesn't comment negatively on my music choices.
I love Carlos, and you know I have renamed him Earl of Duke, so please refer to him by his proper name.
Lady Carla is one of your ladies. Yes, but anyway, what is going on with Zuckerberg, do you think? Do you agree with him that that maybe Zuck has changed his tune? Because he ran down to Mar-a-Lago too, and I am suspicious of that one.
Yes, I think that's good to be suspicious because, people do. What is the phrase, somebody doesn't change its stripes, some kind of animal, but the tiger, the zebra, whatever. He is going to always be a leftist, and he is still a leftist, but he's smart because he realizes where the power is now. And it's interestingly, I think that Trump is the president already. You've got Justin Trudeau, as you said, running to Mar-a-Lago. You've got Zuckerberg. You've got the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, already calling Trump and trying to make a deal with him. I mean, the threat of tariffs, which happened on Monday, already got huge reactions this week right away, and the entire world seems to be resetting in anticipation of the Trump power, which everyone acknowledges by their behavior.
So you think that Trump, let's fast forward, it's past January now. By the way, Biden and Jill are going to the inauguration, right, and probably smiling. I wonder if she's going to wear red. And you think that Trump's biggest problem is going to be Mitch?
Yes. I think of all of the difficult challenges he has on the world stage, the domestic problem of Mitch McConnell looms highest, because Mitch McConnell is already being treated. The New York Times did this, puff piece on him this week. In fact, it had a photo of him the way that they used to photograph Barack Obama, with that ceiling in the Capitol that makes it look like he has a halo. I don't know if you noticed that, but Mitch McConnell got the halo treatment from the New York Times, and they are so excited because he has declared that he is going to basically stop Trump's agenda cold. And the title of the piece in the New York Times is "Liberated from Leadership, McConnell is ready to pick his own fights." Now, he will step down on January 3rd as Senate leader, and he has said the two issues that he is going to basically be focused on is the Senate independence and the leadership of America on the world stage, all of which sounds wonderful, except for a fact that he is going to maintain the old world order and maintain the money going from America to Ukraine. He has declared many times that the Ukraine issue is the most important issue facing America. And, that is something he's going to make sure continues. And he is going to have a new purge where he's going to be in charge of military funding. That is what he has chosen to do. And the second thing is Senate independence. And he has signaled that he is not going to go along with any of Trump's plans for either recess appointments or for acting cabinet secretaries. And this is not an idle threat because this is what he did last time. If you remember, and as you know, most presidents have, because it's in the Constitution, made recess appointments. That is, when the Congress is in recess, the president can appoint nominees to different positions. Well, Mitch McConnell, last time in the 2016-2020 term of Trump, never once put the Senate in recess. He officially kept the Senate open for 4 years. So Trump, unlike every president before him, was unable to appoint a recess appointment at all. And now Mitch McConnell has come out and declared he's not going to allow acting cabinet secretaries, which is what Trump did last time, in order to get through his people, which is allowed by the federal law to appoint for 270 days an acting cabinet secretary. And Mitch McConnell already is going to challenge that. So in order to get Trump's staff and his team in place, the biggest obstacle right now is Mitch McConnell, who despises Trump with every fiber of his being. And he is going to be a problem for Trump. Unfortunately, Trump has, no workaround because the Senate is, as you know, a part of the government. It is an independent branch. It is just as powerful as the executive, along with the House. And so Trump, by constitutional design, has to work around this challenge. And it's going to be, I think, the most difficult. We've already seen he can solve the border issue with, a true social post with tariff threats. He can get the world to start negotiating before he even gets in. But Mitch McConnell is going to stand athwart history and stop him if he can.
Well, the Senate, to complicate that, the Senate operates on consent. So any one senator can hold up a process. And that's why, even though he would not be the Senate leader, that's why McConnell can pretty much block whatever he wants to block. This is a body that operates with the consent.
Yes, you are right. You're absolutely right. But it's not just, putting a hold on nominees. There are only 53, quote-unquote, Republican senators, and there are 4 that Mitch controls, that is enough to stop anything. He's got his deputy, John Thune, who will be the new leader, who is really a puppet of Mitch McConnell. He's got the Saab sisters, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, and he's got the new guy from Utah coming in, John
From
Curtis.
Utah, yeah.
Yep, who is a never-Trumper.
Yep.
And so those 4 are enough to hold off anything that Trump wants to do appointment-wise.
It's untenable, and I just don't know if Mitch realizes what this will cost him, because it will actually cost him the Senate in the off-year election if they really pursue that, and not the off-year, in 2028, when they have to defend most of their Senate seats. This is a very dangerous game for him to play.
He's up in 2026. And so, to me, that is where MAGA's got to fix our sights, because he's somebody who has said he's going to be like Nancy Pelosi, and he's going to exert power even after he steps down from quote-unquote leadership. And that's the guy who's got to go in 2026. And so, to me, he is, in my opinion, he has already stopped Matt Gaetz' appointment. He himself declared victory on that, calling it an appropriate withdrawal. And I think that he's going to stand firm against Tulsi because of his Ukraine fixation. So I think that getting Trump's team in place, which is vital for his agenda, Mitch McConnell is going to be the obstacle. And he needs to be seen for who he is. And one of the things that Trump has always done is bring out into the public eye, the people working against the voters. I mean, this stealth Republican establishment who for many years fooled us all. Well, they just didn't have the votes. Well, they tried, but they just couldn't do it. Well, they've been working against us for many years, and their headquarters has been in the Senate thanks to Mitch McConnell. And so that has to be seen for what it is. And one of the things that Trump does is he makes clear who our enemies are. And I hate to use that word with an elected senator, but he is an opponent.
Wow. Princess Di, hold on. We're going to talk about the ecosystem that Democrats want to put together. This one. Wow. Glenn Campbell. Very last performance on this day in 2012. And this, of course, one of my favorites. On this day also, in 1968, this song went to number one, stayed there for 5 weeks. The classic, Glenn Campbell, Wichita Lineman.
But it don't look like rain. And if it snows, that stretch down south won't ever stand the strain. And I need you more than want you. And I want you for all time. And the Wichita lineman is still on the line.
The James Golden Show. The James Golden Show. It's politics, but theater of the mind with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
Heavenly birthday tomorrow, December 1st, for Lou Rawls. 60 albums, more than that.
You'll never find.
Over 40 million records sold, 1976. This one went to number 2 in the United States of America. Of course, there's the Budweiser commercials that Lou did that really put him on the map, too. Passed away in 2006. The music lives on. Lou Rawls. I had been listening to Lou Rawls all my life. Princess Di is with us. No one else like her. Princess Di, you say, I didn't even see this story in the Times today, that the Democrats want an ecosystem of influencers. What the heck is that about?
Yes, this was from Thursday in the New York Times, and here's the headline. Republicans build an ecosystem of influencers. Some Democrats want one, too. Here's the subhead. Democrats were badly outflanked online in the election, and progressive influencers are now trying to create networks to be a left-wing answer. Now, if you remember, this harkens back to our own experience years ago when the left was always trying to create a left-wing answer to Rush. And it was hilarious because they left out everything important in when they were ginning up their networks, and especially talent. And so none of these people who were, basically tasked with being the left-wing answer to Rush were able to succeed on the merits. And interestingly enough, the entire New York Times article is these people who are called influencers complaining that the Democrats aren't giving them any money.
Oh, jeez.
They can't stand on their own because they may call themselves influencers, but they're not influencing an audience to contribute to them. And so they believe that it's up to the Democrat Party to support them and to basically give them millions of dollars. They were so upset when they saw how much Kamala spent that they only got millions. They didn't get billions.
Oh, goodness.
They are now taking to the New York Times, demanding that the money comes their way. So, as we last time when they tried an answer to Rush and couldn't, lacking talent and lacking truth, the same result will happen. They can get as much money as they want, but that does not create actual influence. And this idea that Republicans built this system of influencers, this was conservatives and this was independents because they were locked out of media that was then called the mainstream media, and they basically quashed any conservative voices who then went out and created their own audiences and succeeded. And so that is what we have. The truth is on our side.
Amen. Thank you, Princess Diana. As always, enlightening. Thank you, Your Highness.
Thank you so much, Sir James, with my $100.
We'll be back, folks. Don't go away. Keep it right here.
The James Golden Show. It's politics, but theater of the mind with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
Or whatever it is that they want to say. They are trying to dismantle our civil rights in front of us, and it's really, really sad. And so I am hoping that we will be united, not only in the House, but in the Senate. And it would be nice if we could find the backbone of some Republican to stand with us, hopefully one that is of color. And the final point that I'll make is that the biggest beneficiaries of DEI as well as affirmative action have been white women. So at least maybe one white woman can stand with us Democrats and make sure that we stop this harmful and divisive rhetoric that we see happening, that they are now trying to turn into actual bills.
Yeah, that's the horror in the House. Jasmine Crockett. You demonize people and then hope that one of them will join you. Good way to go. Today, 1982, the Thriller album is released. 1982, the release date, and it becomes the biggest selling pop album of all time. Sales over 66 million copies. Also, almost a decade later, 9 years later, MJ releases on this date the Dangerous album. That sold 32 million copies. I mean, you think about it. Between the two of those albums, very close to 100 million copies. It's amazing. Let's head back to the telephones. Margaret in Westchester County, you are next. How are you, Margaret?
I'm okay, James. First of all, I'd like to thank you for Thanksgiving and the beautiful words you had about your country and your parents. It brought me to tears. And thank you.
Thank you.
Second of all, regarding the gentleman who is angry with his sons because they didn't vote, because they voted for Trump, and here he is, paying for everything for them. And not surprised because, the Democrats are the ones that brought in all the illegal aliens and are paying for everything for them in hopes that to get the future vote. What's the difference?
Interesting. So the money becomes the tool of coercion and power. I pay, therefore do what I say, and we expect you to do what I say. Interesting point, Margaret. Thank you. Appreciate the call so much. Let's head out to Minnesota and catch up with Dom. Good morning, Dom. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great, sir. Thank you very much. James, calling about the lefty dad and his two MAGA kids, I think the dad is auditioning for a spot in Comedy Central or Saturday Night Live because I was waiting for the punchline that the dad was MAGA and the kids voted for Kamala Harris. That's what it sounded like. Everything the dad said sounded Trumpist, while his two sons were trained by the Biden-Harris School of blood-sucking leeches.
Oh, Dom, that's funny. I don't think the guy's on. I think he's genuinely upset that his poor little darling kids that he pays everything for have the audacity to actually use their own intellectual independence and go with Trump. Thank you, Dom. Appreciate the call. Joe in New Jersey, you are next.
James, thanks for taking the call. I can't tell you how infuriating it was to listen to Lady Di talking about Mitch McConnell. That old fart and what he's going to cost Donald Trump in the midterm elections, let alone the midterm elections. I see opposition against the FBI director, the CIA director, the DNI, the NSA. He's going to cost Trump all the changes he wanted to make. He's going to stop. And everybody better learn there's a number you could call the Capitol operator where you can contact any one of your senators or congressmen.
Yes,
or
and back in the day, that used to work. Let me tell you something. They don't care about the calls now. They've had so many of them over the years. When people call in mass, they just assume that it's somebody stirring up the pot, and they don't listen to it. They don't listen to the letters. They don't pay attention to the calls. This bunch of recalcitrants. Now, here's what I think, and I don't know how this is going to happen. I don't think that Mitch McConnell will succeed in some of it. I cannot explain to you why I don't. I can explain it. Donald Trump is here today with a fraction of an inch, a millifraction of an inch, sparing his life. Not just once, but on 3 different occasions. So I wonder if there is a purpose that goes beyond what we are able to put into 10. Look, I'm just trying to dance around it. There is something from Providence in this, and we will have to see the way that it plays out. As Princess Diana says, "In God we trust" is our national motto, and I say we just do a little trusting right now. Okay, we're going to check in with America's Small Caffeinated Moms and then more of your calls. So let's do that. This, of course, weather report. That baseline up in that upper register is Jocko. And there's more Jocko. Jocko Pastorius, born on December 1st, that would be tomorrow, 1951. Jocko Pastorius changed the game. Widely regarded as probably the most influential bassist of his lifetime. Jocko. Born on December 1st, 1951. This, of course, took Weather Report into the mainstream. Joe Zawinul, Jaco Pastorius, Wayne Shorter. There's Wayne Shorter. James Golden, Snerdley, America's Small Caffeinated Mom, coming up. Don't go away.
The James Golden Show. The James Golden Show. It's politics, but theater of the mind with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
Because no is not a final answer. We need to have the mentality that no means find another way. No means try again. No means look somewhere else. No does not mean stop trying. Okay?
Remember when women used to say that no means no? Apparently AOC is seeing the world differently now. Anyway, on this day, tomorrow, 1957, Sam Cooke was on the Ed Sullivan Show saying this when Buddy Holly was on that show too. And I might mention today is also the birthday of a guy to music radio who was like what Rush was to talk radio. Dick Clark. Dick Clark, the longest running music show on television, American Bandstand. His radio countdown shows are still being played. And of course, what would New Year's be like for so many years without Dick Clark? Born on November 30th, 1929. Happy heavenly birthday, Dick Clark. Time to check in with America's Small Caffeinated Mom, Rhonda Schrock. How are you, Rhonda?
Good morning, James. I'm doing great. And I just have to tell you this weekend, this Thanksgiving weekend, marks the second anniversary of my debut appearance on this show. And there is not a week that goes by that I'm not thankful that you give me the opportunity to come and speak to all of our listeners. It means the world to me.
Wow. Thank you, Rhonda. And we are thankful for you. So what's on your mind this week, Rhonda?
Well, earlier this week, I was thinking about some really big upcoming projects that our family has, like after the new year, one of which is to plan and execute a big barn party for the Cubs high school graduation. He wants to have a big party here in our yard out in the barn, and so that is something that just stresses me out. I'm not Martha Stewart. I'm not the Pioneer Woman. And so pulling all those details together, I can lay awake at night and lose sleep. It's ridiculous. Now, once everybody's here and the party is on, then I'm in my element and everybody's going to have fun. But anyway, I know that that's coming up. There's also another great big one that we're going to be dealing with. It's all good, but it's all a lot of work and it's overwhelming. And I just thought to myself, as I stood there by the sink, we aren't spring chickens anymore. We're in our 50s, and we're just not the spring chickens that went to college with one kid and a brutal schedule. But this is what came to me next. But we aren't dead ducks either. In other words, we are very much still alive. We have hopes and dreams. We have goals and things that we are reaching for with all of our might and all of our energy. And so all week long, I've been thinking on that. We aren't spring chickens, but we aren't dead ducks. When I look at the hustle culture that we live in, and again, here where we live is the RV capital of the world, and so productivity is measured by how many units you can produce a day. It's like that. I mean, pick any industry. Productivity is measured by certain benchmarks. When I was a medical transcriptionist, when the boys were little and I was typing reports at home, I measured my productivity by how many lines I typed per day. And it was highly motivating to me to break my own records, to make my paycheck bigger by typing faster, all of that. Well, that is all well and good. It's good, to push ourselves to break our own records, to get better professionally and personally. That gives birth to big achievements when you have that kind of motivation. But what happens when you can't produce anymore? When you can't produce in the old ways, or you can't produce as much? When we tie our worth and our value to our level of productivity, that is where, as one author said, the cheese gets binding. That's where it breaks down and we can get into the weeds, when we can no longer produce and we begin to feel like we are worth less and we just don't have enough to offer society. Well, I looked back over my life and I just realized again how much wisdom has played a part in my life and how terribly important it is to grow in wisdom. I looked up the definition of knowledge, and knowledge is a state or fact of knowing. Knowledge alone is not wisdom. Wisdom is, and I love this definition, the ability to discern or judge what is true, right, or lasting. Insight. Wisdom is insight. So, in other words, what I have learned is that wisdom takes knowledge, pairs it with experience, and from there, it makes good decisions and judgments. Again, I'm in my 50s, and it has taken me decades to amass the storehouse of wisdom that I now have. And it's taken a lifetime of navigating through all kinds of situations. I could name a plethora of them. And some of the most valuable wisdom, I know this, it came to us through the most painful times in our lives. If your heart is inclined toward wisdom, hard times will bring priceless gifts. If your heart is not inclined to wisdom and you're just strictly pain avoidant, your heart is what will become hard. And that will yield its own harvest of bitter fruit. I think I've said this before. The water that boils the potato softens the potato, and it hardens the egg. The water that hardens the egg softens the potato, and that is so true. Thankfully, the virtue of wisdom is not dependent on our physical abilities. Aren't we so thankful for that? And neither is our inherent worth and value dependent on our physical abilities. As our body declines, James, our souls can grow and soften and expand. And I'm watching that happen. Some of our very dear friends are going through a devastating trial right now. 4 weeks ago, the husband was in a terrible car accident. Brilliant IT specialist is now housebound. He's in a wheelchair. On good days, he's in a wheelchair. He's got a traumatic brain injury, many injuries that will take him months to recover from. He will be off of work and unproductive by that measure for many months. And his wife, too, is off of work and is caring for him 24/7. They don't know for sure when they will return to their jobs. They are literally taking it one moment at a time. And they are learning to give thanks for the small things, like a shower and a shampoo and the ability to just navigate to a doctor's appointment without additional drama. But what is stunning for all of us to witness is the gratitude that is coming out of them, the expressions of faith that is coming from their lips, the beautiful things that are developing or coming out of them that were there and are becoming apparent and are deepening as they go through this incredibly difficult time is just something to behold. It's really lovely. It's like in their time of crushing, the wine that is coming from their lives is of the sweetest and rarest kind. And all of us who are standing by are being blessed at what we are watching, what we are seeing. So though they can't be productive in the old ways right now, there is so much good work that is happening in them. And because they're willing to share it, there is so much good work that is happening through them and because of them. I would tell my boys when they were little, why do I love you? I would say, because you're my boy, that's why. Not because of what you can do, not because you're handsome or smart, which you are, but simply because you exist and because you're mine. And at every age and every stage, they were perfect in my eyes, no matter what they could or could not do, what they did or did not know. They were perfect in my eyes. And that's how I know that is exactly how the Almighty looks at each one of us, no matter what we can or cannot do, what we do or do not know. We are perfect in His eyes. We are perfectly loved. And that's what I want our listeners to know this week, regardless of how productive you are or aren't. You are perfectly loved, and your life has meaning. And as long as you're alive, there is a purpose and a meaning for your life.
Wow, I love that, especially growing older. Rhonda, thank you so much for those. Where can people find this essay?
At every age and stage, our lives have meaning is on thedailybs.com.
And where can people find you, Rhonda?
RhondaSchrock.com, SCHROCK.
Rhonda, as always, thank you. Your inspiring words are so uplifting. Thank you, my dear. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, James. It's my pleasure.
Let's head back to the telephones, ladies and gentlemen. Quick calls before we head out of here for the day. E. Frank, you've been holding from Queens. E. Frank, what's on your mind this morning? Well, E. Frank, thank you. Sorry you held so long and didn't make it. Let's go to George in Pittsburgh. How are you, George?
Good morning. This is quick, but it's important. Jack Jones passed away.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate that. Yes, thank you so much for the call. Carmen in New Jersey, you are up next.
Hey, James, thanks for taking the call. Listen, loved your book about Rush. Quick comment about the parent. I was really happy to hear that because it only shows the glaring difference between liberal parents and parents that are conservative. I have two kids. Both my girls are in their 20s. One voted for Biden in 2020. The other one voted for Trump. This time around, both of them voted for Trump. My reaction was, listen, the one that voted for Biden is going to live through a crappy economy, and she'll come around on her own. I don't need to threaten her. That is exactly what happened, Bob. So there
Whoa. Love it. What a great story. Thank you. Andrew, very quickly, you are up next. What's on your mind, Andrew?
Trump, they criticized him, said, Mexico, he said they would pay for the wall. What he actually said is they'll pay, and then he paused and said one way or the other. The president of Mexico, Shine Bomb, sounds like Shine Box, Goodfellows, get your Shine Box. But want to ask you, Michael
don't make
Jackson.
fun of the woman's name. Come on, have a little more class than that. But I hear the point. Look, this woman stood up the other day and basically has threatened us, the United States, that, hey, you want to play the tariff game, we can play it too. Here's the problem with that. Our economy can withstand it. Theirs can't. So I think this bravado that she's putting up is just that. She's a newly elected president down there. She's got to make an impression on their people. But I think the conversation with Trump, he said that she agreed to close down immigration down there from more immigrants, illegal immigrants pouring into the United States. She went backpedaled, said, no, that's not what happened. I think the proof is going to be when Donald Trump takes office and we see the deportation start. Already, the flow of illegal immigrants is slowing down dramatically. Oh, that's it. We have to leave. My friends, may God bless. Protect each and every single one of you, your family, your loved ones. Love and gratitude for you allowing me to be with you. and for your being here with me. God willing, back same time next week. I bid you adieu. Bye.